Ama Estet, and welcome to the Iseum of the Sacred Lotus's video collection of the practices and traditions of our Iseum. I'm James Isidorus, and today I'll be presenting to you the 7 components of life, as described by the ancient Egyptians that we use in our traditions and practices today, in the Iseum of the Sacred Lotus. These 7 components are the Ak, the Ba, the Ka, the Abbey, the Kayat, the Ren, and the Shawiti. These 7 components are essential to maintaining Ma'at in our lives. When we address each one as a different personified portion of our personality, of our very being, we can bring balance, or Ma'at, to those places to increase energy, strength, power, and vitality in life. It's important to become aware of each component, and every living thing in existence, whether animate or inanimate, possesses these 7 qualities. Each one of these components resonates and vibrates at its own unique frequency. And like a beautiful song when conducted by an orchestra or performed by an orchestra, when each one of these 7 components are playing their notes or playing their instrument properly, we can live a very harmonious life. Sometimes when we feel like things are out of balance, we should look into each one of these components and see what might be out of tune and what might not be in harmony, or ma'at. So we'll begin with going down the list of each one and describing a little bit of its background and how we can utilize it in our modern practice today. The Ak is the highest frequency and level of being a living thing stems from. The ancient Egyptians like to use this very poetically as the star in the heaven that we come from. And you may have heard in other metaphysical teachings that everyone is a star. This seems to have been believed in ancient Egypt as well too. And we've continued this philosophy in modern day in our practices in the Iseum of the Sacred Lotus. To begin at the highest level and work its way down is how it's done, where in more modern metaphysical philosophies, perhaps starting at the base root and aspiring higher is the way to go. In our Iseum, we begin at the top and work our way down to bring the energy of our spirit to us. The Ba. The Ba is understood today in our modern terms as the soul. In ancient Egypt, it was represented in art as a bird with a human's head. And much like in later times with Roman Renaissance art, where it looked like little cherubs' heads on birds' bodies. There's kind of a link there. Out of the scope of this video right now to get into, but to make it comfortable and comprehensive to the viewer, the Ba is our soul. It is free to come and go. It can leave this earthly plane and return to the Ak, or Aka. And it is the soul, or the Ba, or Be, depending on how it's pronounced, that leaves the body when our corporal existence is over. Next is the Ka, or the Ke, depending on how it's pronounced again, of course. The Ka is our spiritual double that resides within our astral temple, providing us with our spiritual sustenance and nutrients required to maintain life in the physical plane. In ancient Egypt, it was symbolized in art by 2 arms reaching itself out like this. It was said that the Ka of the gods would embrace each other, or embrace mortals and humans, or all other living things, Ka. So the Ka, as our spiritual double, resides in the astral world, where it can receive the blessings, the hugs, the spiritual bond between all living things. The Abbey, or the Aub, which resonates very closely to modern Arabic, is Abibi, which is love, or the heart, is exactly that, The Abbey, is the heart. And in ancient Egyptian philosophy, it was believed that the heart was the center of the mind and not the brain. Today, in our modern Iseum practices, we honor the Abbey as the center place where Isis resides in our hearts. Our hearts are her throne for her to reside in and live in. It is also the center of where we produce love, our fate, and our destiny. The Abbey was signified in ancient Egyptian art, which looks like a little heart or more like a little urn with ears or jug handles. Well, that's how it appears to modernize. So we honor our Abbey as the seat or the throne in which the goddess Isis resides in our physical body. The Ka'at, or Ka'ati, which is our corporal physical body. Unlike other religions over time which promoted that the body was sinful or the physical existence was sinful, it's not so in Iseism. The physical body is our temple in which all the spiritual entities reside in. So it's important to maintain physical health and physical well-being. And this is done through proper diet, proper rest, yoga, meditation, and even in dressing. Now, each temple will look different. Not every temple has the same perfect ideal, but to make sure that we maintain the purity of our physical self goes beyond just washing with water. It goes through ritual purity. So the Ka'at, which is the vehicle in the physical world to tour all the spiritual forces and entities that connect within us, is very important to honor. The Ren, or Arin, depending on how it's pronounced again, is our name. Words have power, and in ancient Egypt they believed that words were very powerful. And Isis, as mistress of magic, and she of 10,000 names, one of her epithets is she of the words of power. So we know that when we use a name properly, it gives something life. When we think about someone, we think about their name and usually their face. When we use the name, or the Ren, we must purify it and honor it spiritually as well too, because it carries on its own independent life. And it usually connects us to a person, place, or thing, which then creates a spiritual link. So when we think humble thoughts or good thoughts or loving thoughts of a person's name, somewhere, somehow, that person, place, or thing can feel it. When we do the opposite, or to the other extreme, which is think bad things, we can then project and send out feelings of unhappiness or unease towards that name. It's important to keep a name alive. If a name doesn't remain alive, the person, place, or thing could dissolve. Finally, the Shawiti, or Shwat, again, depending on how this is pronounced, is our shadow. It is the shadow cast by the light of the sun or moon, or just light in general, and it is a part of us. And it is not so much our darker half, more as it is a part of us, because when light hits our physical body, or keate, it forms this dark reproduction, or carbon copy, of ourselves on the floor, or the wall, or the ceiling, depending on where it is. So it follows us, and it too must be honored because it has its place in existence. Now, honoring the 7 components of life equally requires a little bit of ritual dedication and devotion. Becoming just aware of their different planes, of course, helps, because now we are connected to them in a different way had we not been connected to them or introduced to them. There are rituals and devotions dedicated to each one to strengthen them and bring them vitality and bring them to ma'at. And then there are rituals of devotion that carry all 7 together in one dedication or ceremony. We'll cover those as these videos are released in time as well too. But in our Iseum, the Iseum of the Sacred Lotus, it is a very important practice to continually keep these 7 components of life in balance, or ma'at. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this introduction to the 7 components of life as seen through the ancient Egyptian philosophy and eyes. If you have any other questions, please contact me at the information provided at the end of this video, and I would be more than happy to go over things one-on-one with you and help expand the awareness on the 7 components of life. Amma is set, and until next time, thank you for watching.